Alrighty, it's 11:01, so let's get going. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Reiser, the Director of Microsoft and Data Management Services here at Plan B. I'm here today to talk about why Nutanix is enterprise cloud. Come on, pointer. Before we begin, a brief introduction. Most of you know us, but for those who don't, we're Plan B Technologies, and we pride ourselves in being an engineering-focused IT consulting organization with over 19 years of award-winning experience based out of Annapolis, Maryland. The 4 pillars of technology that we specialize in are desktop and data center virtualization, storage and data management, security and networking, and Microsoft solutions. Within these areas, we provide full service delivery from planning, implementation, support, and managed services catered to our customers' specific needs. This full spectrum capability uniquely positions us to aid our customers and deliver a unique perspective when consulting with our customers. Which brings us to our topic today, Nutanix, and why it's our prime solution for today's enterprise cloud challenges. Several studies indicate IT departments spend a disproportionate amount of time tending their IT infrastructure. And while the infrastructure is the underlying foundation, your end users and corporate execs care only about the applications and services that run upon them, which can lead to disparate views of IT and differences of opinion on the goals of the IT department. And because the infrastructure is complex and keeps IT focused on the speeds and feeds, it's no wonder that an estimated 57% of customers with developers circumvent instead of collaborate with IT, creating pockets of shadow IT. To align ourselves with the needs of the business, we need to provision resources, deploy applications, and help them to go to market faster. This requires us to focus on delivering services rooted upon SLAs, regardless of the infrastructure it resides on, while optimizing utilization across each environment. Public cloud meets these needs and appeals to many who see IT as a hindrance, because they can simply swipe a credit card and they have access to what they want. Rapid, simple deployments with a pay-for-what-you-use mentality has become the new aspirational goal of every organization. Unfortunately, public cloud is just someone else's data center, and hyperscalers need to see a return on their data center investments. That's when hidden costs like data egress fees, bandwidth throttling, and over-allocation of resources start to add up, and ultimately costing more than if you took their methodologies and implemented them in your own data center. Public cloud is best suited for elastic and unexpected workloads that will change over time, where those added costs are worth the dollars to achieve rapid deployment times. But using the same application-centric mentality as the big hyperscalers, a true enterprise private cloud can achieve the same premise for those more predictable or even static workloads at a fraction of the cost of public cloud. And Nutanix can unify both to eliminate management silos and reduce administration overhead. So how did we get here? Legacy three-tier IT infrastructure requires overspending on hardware to hopefully meet expected growth. Meanwhile, legacy storage vendors have grown accustomed to this cycle and have molded their sales processes to take advantage of unexpected growth by adding a premium to capacity additions without giving any value to coincide with the added expense. Furthermore, as platforms age and updates are made, even modern systems age out of the backwards compatibility, necessitating forklift upgrades to controllers and clusters every 3 to 6 years. By further abstracting applications away from not only the hardware, but also the management systems, Nutanix achieves that promise that virtualization hinted at years ago by making the infrastructure invisible and returning the focus of administrators back to what has always mattered, the applications and the services that run on them. And we achieve that without compromising on data resiliency and without adding bolt-on products with countless management interfaces to learn what end up, with countless interfaces to learn that end up costing increasing the cost of administering and maintaining legacy IT infrastructure. Nutanix is the only platform that provides a unified management ecosystem designed to be transparent to the applications and services administered within, while being as agnostic as possible to the underlying hardware and infrastructure, regardless of vendor, hypervisor, or public cloud provider, returning the focus of IT departments to what matters, applications and services. Every IT department, regardless of vendor, go through the same life cycle, but only Nutanix achieves this enterprise cloud vision by allowing IT organizations to reduce their deployment SLA to hours via an intuitive management interface that provides actionable information while embodying a non-disruptive one-click philosophy, giving IT the tools to effectively plan for the future without overspending. Not only can you buy only what you need for your Nutanix environment, avoiding the classic front-end overspend of legacy vendors, but as the organization adds workloads such as virtual machines, databases, file services, or containers to the environment, Nutanix gives IT administrators the planning tools you need to predict when and what you'll need to add to the environment as the needs of the organization evolve. That's the benefit of a hyper-convergent infrastructure built on a truly enterprise cloud management ecosystem like Nutanix. This is a real-world example of why a one-click philosophy is relevant. This is a sequence of events necessary to perform VMware upgrades in an increasingly complicated cycle in a large enterprise environment, pulled directly from VMware documentation, whereas Nutanix AHV provides for a process of just a few clicks, all within the same console, non-disruptively for all the components of the ecosystem, including the hypervisor and the drivers for the underlying hardware. Due to the increasing complexity of VMware offerings and their failure to truly integrate the multitude of products they've bolted into their virtualization, there are customers who no sooner complete their VMware upgrades before they have to start planning for the next round of outages and updates. Shouldn't we be able to move past the mentality of lost nights and weekends? The Nutanix ecosystem provides a single pane of management for virtualization, networking, storage, automation, and containers with meaningful and actionable monitoring and reporting. This enterprise private cloud is then completed and hybridized with features such as Cloud Connect for burstable, off-site snapshot retention in AWS or Azure, Nutanix Mine for an integrated enterprise backup solution, Xyleap for managed business continuity as a service, and recently added Nutanix Clusters, which enables enterprises to run AOS clusters in Amazon Web Services on bare metal EC2 instances, leveraging your existing AWS accounts, credits, VPCs, VPNs, and direct connect configurations. The Nutanix Cloud Platform provides a single management interface for your entire environment, making the underlying infrastructure and services effectively invisible to return the focus of your IT back to the applications and services that matter. Finally, not only does Nutanix provide a holistic approach to your enterprise cloud, but it's sustained by one of the best technology support organizations in the market today. Their dedication to excellence matches our own and is reinforced by the corporate culture of Nutanix, which places a high emphasis on customer satisfaction to maintain a 90+ net promoter score for more than 4 years running. A few years ago, the Nutanix NPS dropped below 90 as a result of an update bug, and entire dev group initiatives were paused to redirect them to resolving the issue promptly and return the net promoter score back up above 90. Why does net promoter score matter? Because it's a survey of existing customers who are simply asked, how likely is it that you would recommend Nutanix to a friend or colleague? And as a frame of reference, VMware's NPS is 45, Dell's is 28, and HPE's is 29, which should showcase the importance Nutanix places on customer satisfaction. Now, give me a minute and I'll get my screen shifted over to our demo.
While Scott's getting the demo ready, I just want to let you know if you have any questions, please feel free to just pop those into the Q&A button or into the chat and we will take care of it.
So this is the my landing interface for Prism Central. And as you can see, you get a fair amount of information that you can rearrange. Obviously here is your cluster quick access that you can dive into. I'll touch on that a little bit later. But the first thing I wanted to showcase is that actionable reporting that we talked about in order to show not only what you're using in the environment currently, but how far that'll get you. So right now you can see we have 272 days of runway for storage, but only about 35 days of runway for memory. So how does that equate into actionable information? Well, if I know I'm going to be adding VMs down the road and even a XenApp environment down the road, it can tell me when exactly I'll need to add more hardware to the environment in order to meet those needs and those growth estimates, allowing Nutanix infrastructure to better predict when purchases will have to happen without stabbing in the dark and overspending on the front end to meet those needs. And to get out of the upgrade cycles, we can log in directly to the respective clusters that we're talking about. And of course, the demo environment wants to run a little slow today. but we get quick, relatively quick upgrade and one-click capabilities for performing upgrades in the environment. Simply downloading the software and running through the upgrade pre-checks for AOS, NCC, which is a health check utility built into Nutanix, and things like file services, which are separate downloads. And then, as I was saying before, because you have this single pane of glass for management, we can create VMs in any of our clusters, regardless of whether or not it's AHV or ESX, giving you that single pane of glass of management. Obviously, we've wanted to keep this pretty quick, so I'm going to open it up and see if there are any questions that have come in. Troy, do we have anything that's come in?
We did have one of the questions that came in prior to the call, and it was regarding the fact that somebody is hosting applications in AWS and how AWS and even Azure can auto scale those applications up or scale out. Mm-hmm. And they were asking if this is possible with Nutanix, and the answer is absolutely yes. We have a number of activities with our Prism Ops that is constantly monitoring VM and workload utilization, and we can generate triggers that will execute a playbook and automatically either add memory, add CPU if it is a hot add capable VM, or we can actually trigger a process that will increase the number of VMs and allow you to have that scale out flexibility just like you do with public cloud. And let's see, we've also got another question that came in. Will all of our administrators now using a single pane of glass, how do you control our users' administrative capabilities? Does Nutanix offer any type of RBAC like Azure and AWS? And the answer to that one is as well, yes. Security and role-based controls, it's really a key part of what Nutanix was founded on. And so those role-based access controls can be configured against individual VMs, against categories that you place your VMs on, and then there's additional entities that we can structure those role-based controls around, such as subnets, clusters, reporting capabilities, that sort of thing.
And I don't see anything else. We'll give everybody a few more minutes to type anything up. And then if nothing else comes in, we'll call it for the morning.
Yeah, Scott, I'm not seeing anything else come in. We really appreciate everybody's time, and Scott and Katie are going to be sending out an invite link. You'll all have access to an actual live Nutanix cluster. If you want to dig deeper into exactly what things Scott showed, we have one of our workshops for Nutanix Enterprise Cloud setup, and as soon as this is over, they just send that invite out, and then I can help you get a personalized login to that.
There is a question about, it sounds like there would be an upfront cost to switch our VDI to Nutanix. So Nutanix is, depending upon the solution that you wanted to take with that, Nutanix, as we've shown, can run ESX on the Nutanix infrastructure, or it can run AHV. In either scenario, your existing VDI environment can run on that infrastructure, but because the purchase, there would be a purchase to get the Nutanix infrastructure. And if you wanted assistance with migration of those systems, of your existing VDI environment over to the new infrastructure, of course, that would be an added cost. But we would be able to work with you to work that out. Thanks for that.
Yep, absolutely. And just to tack on to that, Scott, Nutanix also does offer a cloud broker called Nutanix Frame, in which the brokering aspects and creation and management of your VDI implementation runs in the cloud. And then you can utilize either on-premises VDI infrastructure from Nutanix, from AHV, or you can actually provision those virtual desktops into any of the three major cloud providers: Amazon, Microsoft Azure, and of course Google Cloud. So, you know, we'd be more than happy to discuss that with you, find out a little bit more about your environment and what you might be trying to accomplish, and come up with the most cost-effective way to get there.
Yep, absolutely. And it just adds to the arrows in our quiver to address our needs, the needs of our customers. Alrighty, if there's no other questions, then we'll give everybody back a little bit of time and call it a day. And like Troy said, look out for that link to the demo cluster and get in there and access it. Thanks a lot, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.